Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad that you were able to tune in on our online stream and you're also able to be here live with us. Welcome to the Kindergarten Readiness Seminar. I am LaShonda Bennett and I am going to be sharing a few points with you. Hopefully, that will help you to get your little one acclimated or ready for kindergarten. Now, it's something that's going to be new for some because we have some little ones that are at home, like mine were. They did not go to daycare, but I did have a daycare in my home. So, some of these things, not all, I did with them. Anything that you can do at home to help them, to prepare them. Your teacher will love you for that. And it will also make it easier for your little one when they start school, when they have to get into a type of structure, sitting in a classroom and following directions. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you look at the table of contents, you see that we're going to go over motor skills. Motor skills are very important. Phonics, also language skills, individual education program, which is our IEP. We're going to touch on that just briefly because that is something that we can talk about all day. But we'll talk about it briefly just so that you'll be familiar with it. And also counting techniques. Now, the information that I'm going to give you is going to be a lot. I tried to condense it as much as I could, but this would just give you a foundation on where to start with your little one. You can start now. They are never too young. You can start as soon as they're walking or before. As long as they're hearing these things, they will be able to pick it up and they will be familiar with it. Next slide, please. So, fine motor skills, hand and eye coordination. That is very important. Our pandemic babies, they were they were done just a tiny bit of an injustice because a lot of them had to start kindergarten online. My son, my youngest son, he had to start kindergarten online. So those fine motor skills that they get to practice every single day in the classroom, our pandemic babies, they did not get that. So thankfully, the pandemic has rolled on. We're past it. And you can start those fine motor skills at home before they go into the classroom. So, hand and eye coordination involves scissors, cutting, cut, showing them how to hold scissors. It does not matter if they are cutting on the line, if you have a line for them to cut on, as long as they are using those fingers. As long as they are moving those fingers, it's going to help strengthen their fingers and it's going to help them to learn to cut and stay on those lines as they do it more. Drawing and coloring. Let them draw markers, crayons, chalk outside on the sidewalk. All types of ways they can draw and color is very good. When you color, and well, I remember when I was younger, when I would color, you hold your crayon and you color, and your hand go like that, just a little bit. We want to get control of those fine motor skills. We want to be able to get them to stay within the lines. Now, they are babies. We know it's not going to be perfect. Some are going to color better than others. But we want to encourage them. Stay within the lines. Let's color neatly. We don't scribble, okay? And it will stick. In my classroom, I teach my kids, we do not scribble. We stay within the lines. And that will resonate within them. And they will make an honest effort to do that because they want to make you proud. They want to make their picture pretty. They want you to say, good job, I really like that. Okay? So that's also going to help with those fine motor skills. Using a pencil. Let them use a pencil. Writing their name. You may show them some words. Writing words. If they can't make the correct formation for the letters, it's okay. You'll get to that. But just holding a pencil, just writing, making slant lines, making lines that go straight across, horizontal lines, making squiggly lines, making lines that are zigzag. All of that is good for fine motor skills, and it also helps with letter formation. If you have noticed, our letters are just made of lines, okay? So If they are practicing those lines, if they are practicing a straight line, then a straight line is part of an A. If they are practicing their shapes, circles and triangles and squares, mostly circles are going to come into play when we do our letter formation. So your A is a straight line and it's also a circle. Okay? The letter B, a straight line, is a smaller circle. The letter D, straight line, smaller circle. Curved lines. You see, the letter C is just a curved line that's open. So all of that comes into play when it comes to your child learning to write their letters. It may seem like it does not help. Before I became a teacher, I did not understand the importance of pre-writing, writing those strokes, those lines. It really helps. I had a student that was in my classroom, very bright, but she had a hard time writing. And I would look at her paper and I was like, oh, what's going on? The problem was she could not even make a straight line or a slanted line properly. So it affected the way she wrote her letters. And so I had to work with her on letter formation. So that's very important. Also, building blocks. Building blocks or block building is very important. They love to play with blocks. I have blocks in my classroom. They go on the carpet, they build whatever their imagination can let them build. Castles, houses, skyscrapers, whatever. Let them build. Blocks can be expensive. They are very expensive, but a suggestion is going to the Goodwill. You can find blocks there, clean them up, sanitize them. They're good as new. And you have a set that they can just play with and they can use their imagination. I have a short video that I would like to share with you. It's going to talk about just a small activity that you can practice with your little one at home using just simple materials at home. So if you'll play the video for me, thank you.
Everybody, it's Alexa from Move About, and today I have an activity that you can do with stuff from your own kitchen. Okay, so let me show you what I've got. I went into my kitchen and I got 2 mugs, raisins, and I found a pair of tongs. So that's all you need for today's activity. This is a great activity for making those hands and fingers stronger. So the first thing that you need to do is get your cup of raisins or whatever food you've got from the kitchen and line up about 5. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, needed 1 more. 5. And then you're gonna get your pair of tongs. This time I'm gonna start with my right hand because it's my stronger hand. And what I wanna try to do today, because I wanna make these pincer fingers really, really strong, I'm going to use these 2 to hold my tongs, and these 3 are going to go to sleep. So I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to try to get all of these raisins into this cup over here. Let's try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Now you have a go. Now it's time for the left. I'm going to get out my raisins. I'm going to line them up again. This time I'm going to switch it up. Let's make these 3 fall asleep. And I'm going to use these pincher fingers again. Okay, I'm going to do my left hand and put it in the right cup. I think this one might be a bit trickier for me. Here we go. What? Uh-oh, doesn't want to come off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woohoo! Now it's your turn. One way that you can make this a bit easier or even a bit trickier is using different types of food. So you could use bigger foods, slippery foods, smaller foods. You can also use different utensils. You could try using a clothes peg, and that really gets those finger muscles working. Wow, yeah. Or if you really want to try something tricky, you can try chopsticks. Whoa, that is Tricky. All right, thank you for joining me today. I hope your hands are feeling super strong. Make sure you hit that red subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Bye.
Okay, so in our video, she used raisins. You can use anything around the house. You can use Cheerios, you can use buttons, marshmallows, dry beans. All you need is just some tongs. You can get those at the dollar store. You can get some smaller ones and just get those fingers moving, and that will help them. Next, we have dexterity under fine motor skills, tying shoes, buttoning and zipping clothes. A lot of kindergartners come in, they can't button their pants when they go to the restroom. They have problems zipping up and down. And that's because sometimes their fingers are just too weak. Okay? So when we use these activities to help them, it's also going to help them in their daily needs. Okay? Also manipulation of small objects, beads, puzzles, small beans, etc. Now, very important, pencil grip. You want to make sure that your child has the tripod grasp. So the tripod grasp is going to be these three fingers. We know tri means three. Looks, we know a triangle has three sides. So it's sort of like a triangle. So if you're going to have your little one hold a pencil, you want them to hold it something like this. Okay? I've seen students come in and try to write like this with their whole hand. We want to try and correct that, okay, because it's going to be easier for them to form those letters. They're not going to be as frustrated because they don't know how to form the letters. They're not going to be frustrated and not want to learn because they're having problems writing. One way that you can help them, you can use a piece of paper or a tissue. You can use a cotton ball. Just ball it up, put it in the palm of their hands, and tell them, hold your paper, hold your cotton ball, don't let it go. Stick it in the palm of their hand. Make sure you place their fingers in that tripod grasp, and that will help them to stay in that tripod grasp, and it will help them to write better. You can also get pencil grips at the dollar store or your local Walmart, Target, wherever. I will say this, pencil grips are great. When I use pencil grips, 9 times out of 10, when I turn my back, they take them off. They hate the pencil grips. I don't know why. They just do not like placing their fingers in those pencil grips. But not all students are the same. So that's another option for you if the paper or the tissue or the cotton ball in the hand does not work. All right. Moving on, we're going to go to gross motor skills. Locomotion. This comes with the running and the jumping and the skipping and the hopping. A lot of what they do at school during recess. Recess is very important. Outside time is very important. When we were younger, we stayed outside. Get in the house before the lights come on, before the street lights come on. But now our little ones, they have more screen time. We have some that go outside, and they're outside a lot. But just moving and getting those muscles moving and making them stronger, okay? Object manipulation, throwing, catching, or kicking a ball, okay? A football, a basketball, a soccer ball, all right? Balance and coordination, walking on a straight line, obstacle courses. I know during field day, towards the last day of school, we always have a field day. We always include an obstacle course where they are crawling under something on their hands and knees, or they're jumping over something, or they're jumping up onto something, or they're running around something, okay? All of that is going to strengthen those muscles that they need to be able to be agile, okay? And also, I will say this, in kindergarten, in physical education, they do test or they do see if your student or your little one has their motor growth skills, if they are strong in that, okay? So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to say they're going to not pass or whatever, but they just want to know that they are developing uh, they are developing correctly. And if it's something that they may notice where they're like a little off balance or they may need some help, then we can just hone in on that early and try and get that corrected. Next slide is our phonics. So, phonics is connecting spoken sounds, written words, or groups of letters. Okay? So, word level, rhyming. Rhyming is very important. Most of the time, our students have a hard time with rhyming because they have to use their auditory skills and they have to listen. So, for example, cat, bat. Cat and bat rhyme. We say the rhyme, which is the ending sound, the AT, is the same. And we're only changing our onset, which is the beginning sound. In bat, it would be the B sound. In cat, it would be the K sound that we are changing. But they both have the at sound. So bat and cat rhyme. Also alliteration. Big brown bear. B, b, b. They hear the same sound in each word, and they're able to connect that sound. Also, sentence segmentation. Excuse me. I see the dog. That is 4 words. Now, sentence segmentation, I like to do this in my classroom. I will write a sentence on the word. We will use I see the dog. And sometimes I will use counters. And I have a student come up, and I will have them put a counter into the cup for each word. I see the dog. And I said, well, how many words are in that sentence? If they look in their cup and they pour it out and they count their counters, they will see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 words in that sentence. Sometimes I have them clap it out as we read the sentence. I see the dog. I see the dog. How many times did you clap? 4 times. I, 1, see, 2, the, 3, dog, 4. Okay? Or I will have them walk up to the board and point and touch. I see the dog. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they can tell me how many words are in that sentence. Next, we have syllable levels. Now, that is going to be our different syllables, how we break our words up. So, for example, I have the word baby. Baby. How many times did you clap? 2. Or you can have them stomp it out. Make it fun because they think they're playing a game. Baby. 1, 2. Have them jump up in the air. 1, 2. Baby. Okay? You can have them tap their chin. Baby. How many times did you touch your chin? 2. Bay. 1. B. 2. Next one, exercise. That's a little longer. Okay? Exercise. You can have them tap it. Exercise. How many fingers did you use? 1, 2, 3. Okay? So those are just some different ways that you can help your child. You don't have to do it a long time. You may do 2 words each day. Okay? You don't have to do a whole list of words because if they're getting it every day, they're just getting that practice. So by the time they get into the classroom, they're familiar with it and they'll be able to recognize it and make a connection. And that's what we want. Again, onset and rhyme level. Onset is the beginning sound. For instance, the word map. That's the onset. That's the first sound we hear in the word map. Rhyme is the ending. So map, app. App is the rhyme. Okay. So what would rhyme with map? Rap. The onset would be r because that is beginning sound, and the rhyme would be the same. App, rap. Okay. So map and rap, they rhyme. That goes back to our rhyming. All right, phonemic awareness. Phonemic awareness is the ability to hear, identify, and manipulate individual sounds. Now, I will say this. This is a challenge for students because some of them, they don't even know all of their letter sounds. Some of them don't know all of their alphabets. So this comes in time. They usually don't start, do not start catching on to it until probably the second or the third quarter, okay? Because they have to get that practice in. They have to. And we go over it every single day. Everything that I'm going over with you, we go over it every single day. So make sure that you're doing this at home, because your teacher is going to make her job easier. It's going to help your child to want to learn, and then you are reinforcing it at home. So phoneme. A phoneme is just the sound that the letter makes. So the letter C makes k sound. The letter B makes b sound. I want to say this. When we are teaching our letter sounds, we have that schwa sound. The schwa sound is the sound that we put at the end. So for the letter B, we don't say b. You hear that at the end? B. We want to say the letter B makes a b sound. You hear the difference? B, b. Just push that air out real fast instead of holding it and making that sound. So just be careful of that. The S sound, so it's just the sound for phonemes. If they learn their letters and they learn their sounds, that's the beginning to writing and reading and listening and segmenting and blending, okay? Manipulation, blending. So for example, the word cat. If I say blend the word cat for me, this is the way you would want to do it. At cat. That vowel that's in the middle when you have your CVC words, your CVC words, your consonant, vowel, consonant words. You want to take that vowel in the middle and you want to drag it out so that they can hear it. Now, there are different ways you can do this, but I found that when you drag that vowel out in the middle, it helps them to blend better. So again, at cat. At the end, you want to say it real fast. You want to bring those sounds together, okay, so that they're saying the word. Next, segmenting. So then we're going to take that word and we're going to break it up, because when you segment something, you break it apart. So if I say segment the word cat for me, you can use what I call choppers. So we put both of our hands together. I'll just use one hand. And we use our choppers, like you're chopping something up, okay? So if you segment or you break up the word cat, you're going to say at cat. Remember, at the end, we want to say that word really fast. At cat. You want to be very distinct in the sound that the letters make. You do not want to drag out that vowel when you're breaking up a word or you're segmenting it, okay? One more time. At cat. Okay? Also, auditory. Ears only. Auditory, you're just using your ears. We do not have any letters. We do not have any print. That is hard for a kindergartner, because first we have to get them to sit still. They have a lot of energy. They're always moving. They're fumbling. They're looking around. They're playing with their shoes. They're playing with their hands. They're playing with their neighbor's hair. They're sitting in front of them. So audio can be a test. But auditory, we're only using our ears. I have a short video that I would like to share with you on phonics, phonemic awareness, and I'm going to share that with you right now.
So eyes up. Eyes up. I'm going to read a word set. Remember, a word set is 3 words. You're going to tell me which 2 words rhyme. You ready? Dance, chance, next. Dance, chance. Good. West, nest, fan. West, nest. Good. Quick, pick, let. Quick, pick. Very good. Last one. Pop, top, zip. Pop, top. Very good. Okay, now I'm going to say the word and you're going to repeat the word and you are going to tell me the beginning sound. Remember, we call that the onset. It's. It. Good. Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Is.
Is.
Good. Last one. Acting.
Acting.
Very good. Okay, I'm going to say a word with a pause. So this chopper is going to be the beginning sound, and this chopper is going to be the rhyme. Remember, the rhyme is the part that sounds the same in the middle and the end. And we're going to blend them together. Eyes.
Eyes.
Pies. Odd.
Odd.
Rod. Good. Cube.
You.
Cube. Last one. Ag. Wag. Very good. Now I'm going to say a series of words. Remember, that's 3 words. These words all have the same final sound. So you tell me what you hear coming out of my mouth very last. Here we go. Braid. Good. Bad. Very good. Dress. Glass. Grapes. Good. Glove. Live. Have. Good. Last one. Fuzz. Freeze. Is. Very good. Okay. I'm going to say the word and you're going to repeat the word and we're going to break it into parts. So the first part's going to be beginning sound and the rest is going to be the middle and the end. Remember that we call that the rhyme. Here we go. Tight. 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 Good. Seal.
Okay, we did not look at the whole video just for the sake of time, but that just gives you an idea of what we just went over: blending, segmenting, listening for that rhyme in the onset, taking sounds and putting them together. She used the Haggerty method. I used Haggerty in my classroom, not this past year, but the year before. It was the best thing that happened to my kids. We used the choppers. We did the blending and the segmenting. We were using our hands. We were using the motorcycle motion when we were sounding out words. So it's I don't have time to get into all of that, but um, the Haggerty information is so helpful. Um, let's move on to language skills. So, language skills is the ability to communicate through listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So, listening is the ability to understand spoken word. If someone is having a conversation with you, you are following along, okay? Following directions. We will say follow directions in our classroom as teachers from kindergarten on up to 12th grade. We will say it 101 million quadrillion billion times if that's a thing. Okay? Following directions is very important, and the way that they're going to follow directions is through listening. Okay? Sometimes they may need a prompt. So what I would do in my classroom, if I have steps that I want them to complete as far as following directions, at the top I would say first we're going to write our name. I will put a pencil up on my whiteboard. And then I say, next, you are going to color. And I will put a crayon up under the pencil. And then next, you are going to cut and paste. And I will put scissors and glue underneath. So that gives them a visual. Also, they're hearing it through auditory. Conversation comprehension. That's the ability to have a conversation and just understand what someone is saying to you. Have you ever talked to your little one and you said, "Go upstairs and get my pen off the bed," and they go upstairs and they come back down and say, "What did you say you want?" Or "Where did you say it was?" That's part of the listening. Upstairs on the bed, there's my pen. Or something just simple. "Can you go over there and get that cup for me, please?" And they, instead of getting the cup, they get a fork. They have to use those listening skills. And it's normal. We do it as adults. So it's very normal. And they just need that practice. If you tell them to do something and they don't do it correctly, just say, "Listen, use your ears." And it will help them to make the connection and to help them to focus. Audio content. In classrooms, we have audio stations. Some teachers use them, not all, but especially in our primary grades. Audio stations where they can sit, put on headphones, listen to a story. The bear walked through the woods. At the end, there may be a question. Where did the bear walk? And if they were listening, they would know they walked through the woods. Okay? Very important. Speaking. Expressing thoughts or ideas through spoken language. Asking questions. I give all of my students a chance to express themselves, to ask questions, to conversate, to talk. We have a talk in turn where they have a partner. They turn to their partner and they will talk to them about a topic that we are discussing. For example, if I said, well, this weekend I went to the beach. Turn and talk with your partner and tell them what you did this weekend. That's that conversating, okay? And then the other person has to use that listening, okay? Verbal presentations. In my class, my kindergartners, they do a verbal presentation. One verbal presentation. So around about the holidays, they get to do a small little project of their favorite celebration or tradition that they keep. And they will talk about their family, they'll draw pictures, they will label it, their favorite food, their favorite part of the celebration, and they will stand in front of the class and they will share. You get them talking, you have the class that's listening, you also are helping them to comprehend conversation, okay? And then at the end, the class has a chance to ask questions. Well, why do you like that? When did you start celebrating that? Or when did you start that tradition? And you will be amazed at the questions they can come up with, the conversations that they will have. Next slide is our language skills, reading and writing. Very important. Reading, comprehension of written words. Now, reading, books, websites. And you say, well, they're in kindergarten. What type of website? We use PebbleGo. We use all types of different websites in our classroom to learn. And in PebbleGo, it will read to them. They get the auditory. As it reads, it highlights each word. They're going from left to right, which is how we read, from top to bottom, which is how we read. They're also getting pictures, examples of what they are reading or what is being read to them. You also can use other written materials. Now, writing is conveying information or ideas through written language, okay? In my classroom, we write sentences. Now, you would say, how are they writing sentences? They learn. They start with where they are, and as the year progresses, it gets better. And we keep a journal so they can see how much they have grown. So sentences, we want to make sure they have an uppercase letter. I know when I was younger, we used the word capital letter. We might want to use uppercase letter more because when we have our big letters and our small letters, upper and lower, it's just better to connect to. So uppercase letter, 2-finger spacing. When you're having them write a word, use 2 fingers between each word so they will write a word. So if they write the big bear, uppercase letter, uppercase T, the, 2-finger spacing, 2 fingers in between, and then big, 2-finger spacing right here, and then bear. And then at the end, punctuation. Okay, so uppercase letter, 2-finger spacing, and punctuation. I tell them, you need to use your 2-finger spacing because if you put those words together and you jumble them all up, I cannot read what it's saying. They are having a party and they don't want anyone to come in. And they just want to have that party all to themselves. But I want to be able to join the party too. And in order for me to join the party, you have to separate those words and use your 2-finger spacing. The big bear, 2-finger spacing. All right, labeling. Whenever we draw a picture, and maybe I will ask them, what is it that you did this weekend? They may say, well, I went to the beach and I played in the water and it was hot. So their picture may look something like this, and this is just big. This is just something that I'm making up. Maybe in the beach, they saw the water, it was hot. Maybe there's been a boat out there. Maybe on the boardwalk, they saw a cat, and they might draw a picture of a cat, a stray cat that was on the boardwalk. And so when we draw pictures, we always label because they're getting their writing in. So when they write the word cat, they may not spell it with a C because K makes the k sound too. And they might sound it out and say k, and write cat. It's okay because you know they hear that k sound. You know they hear that sound and they hear the t sound. Now, is it okay if they don't have all of the letters correct? It's okay. As long as they're trying to sound it out, it'll get better as time goes on. Okay? All right. I'm going to touch on this very briefly. Now, our next slide is Individual Education Program, IEPs. That's very broad. I just want to touch on it briefly for those of you who may need access to this information. Individual Education Program, or an IEP, comes from IDEA. And IDEA was a law that was passed for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Okay, so it has 4 key aspects to it, but I'm just going to go over a few things that are up under it. It's more than 4 though. So all students with disabilities are entitled to a free and appropriate education. We do not discriminate. Okay? They get an education, a free education, just like everyone else. Okay? And then we have the IEP, which is what we're going to talk about briefly. So that's ages 3 to 21. And then we also have early intervention. So that's birth to age 2, where they may notice your little one may have a the learning and development is not quite where it needs to be. So we can just, address that early so that they can get on track, okay? Also, LRE. LRE is least restrictive environment. That says that our students that have learning disabilities are allowed or should be instructed in the general education classroom as much as possible with general education students, okay? We're not going to separate them, all right? Now, they may have a classroom where they would go in and out, because they may be in and out, and they may be in another classroom that's contained. That's what we call a contained classroom, which is where our students that receive special education go to get instruction, okay? Also, we have Child Find that's under IDEA, and Child Find states that the state is required to identify, locate, and evaluate children who may need special education. We want to give them what they need so that they can learn, they can get their free education, and they can grow, okay? And then our last one is parents have a voice. Advocate for your little one. If you think something is not right and they may need that extra push, they may need special education, that's fine. I know before I became a teacher, special education scared me. Do not let it scare you. Do not. It's just that push in the back to give them a tailored curriculum that's tailored to them, to their learning needs. So it's a plan developed to ensure a child who has a disability identified under the law receives specialized instruction, accommodations, or other related services. And all of that is just saying we are going to meet that child where their personal need is in order for them to learn, because we all learn differently. And this is just a few things that it covers: special learning disabilities, health impairments, autism spectrum disorder, emotional disturbance, speech or language impairment, visual impairment, including blindness, deafness, hearing impairment, orthopedic impairment, intellectual disability, traumatic brain injury, multiple disabilities. So if they fall under that, then you can advocate, for an IEP for your little one. Some accommodations may include, but are not limited to, social skills assistance, additional time for testing. Maybe they don't test well around a lot of people. Maybe they need to go to a quiet place where it's a smaller setting and they would do better. Okay? Breaks. Maybe they can't sit for a long time. They may need to take a break every 15 minutes and come back and learn in little small chunks. Preferential seating, sitting where they're able to pay attention. Specialized instruction, time within a self contained classroom, we went over that earlier, and therapy operations, time with SLP. SLP is just the speech language pathologist, the one that'll come in, help them with communication, talking, making the correct sounds when they're saying their words, okay? Next, we're going to go to counting techniques. Now, under counting techniques, this is going to be for math. We have rote counting and rational counting. Rote counting includes citing numbers in sequential order, just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We count from 1 to 100 every day. I have a screen up on the board. They have a visual. They hear it. They're saying it. Okay? Fingers, toes, and manipulatives. Have them count those fingers. Have them count those toes. Put some cereal on the table. Have them count the cereal. Some dry beans. Or you can use counters. A lot of teachers use counters or Unifix cubes. We use paper clips, cotton balls. You can use pens, crayons, anything that they can count. Okay? Now for our visuals, we can use number lines, 10 frames, or flashcards. You can get a ton of flashcards at the dollar store. You can make your own. Okay? Rational counting involves hands-on. So that's when you would use blocks or counters, something like this, or just whatever materials you would like to use. Okay? One-to-one correspondence is very, very important. Each item is matched or associated with a single number. So when they're counting, you may notice there was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the finger is just going slower than what they're counting. You want to do that one-to-one correspondence. So, for example, if they are counting counters, you want them to point and touch. 1, 2, 3. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Point and touch. All right, understanding that the last number stated represents the total quantity. If they count 1, 2, 3, they should not be telling you that the total is 4. The last number stated, which is 3, is the total quantity. Okay? I had a video that I wanted to share with you on that, but for time's sake, we're going to keep going. But it was just showing the same thing that I just showed you, where a little child will point and touch, use the point and touch for one-to-one correspondence. We do have literacy and math packets that you can take home with you, okay? In there, inside, I just want to go over 1 or 2, and then I'm going to let you go. For your kindergarten language arts packet, I'm going to hold it this way. For your packet with the yellow top, in the packet, it has all kinds of worksheets you can do with them, with letters and writing and tracing and cutting and just gluing. But what I really want to talk about are the sight words. Sight words are very important. Sight words are the words that you're going to find a lot in your reading, like I, the, go, she, can. You want to make sure you're going over those sight words with them. Maybe you can do one every 2 weeks. If your child can move faster, you can do one a week, okay? You may see this in your packet where they can take their fingers and they can trace, or you can put it in a sheet protector and they can trace. You can use it over and over again. You have the uppercase letters, and you also have the lowercase letters. Then at the end, there's a game where each person can roll a die, and then they can take a penny or a counter, and whatever number comes on the die, you're getting your math in there. They move that many numbers forward, okay? And so that's very good. And then at the back, it just give you some ideas on reading, some things that you can do that will build them writing as well. Our last packet, which is our math packet, has the blue top. And the blue top packet just has things here where they can count. Make sure that one-to-one correspondence is going on. 1, 2, 3. They're pointing and touching. And the last thing that I want to talk about is this. This is called a pathway, a number path. So on your number path, you're going to cut it out. You're going to glue it together so that it goes from 1 to 20. You can have them put counters on it, cereal, whatever, paper clips. Put 2 paper clips on your number path, and they will cover it with 1, 2. Add 3 more. 1, 2, 3. How many do you have in all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last number stated is the quantity, okay? So also, we have our decodable text. You have 2 decodable texts in your packet where you can read with them. You can have them echo read, which means you read and they repeat what you read. Okay, very simple. So thank you so much for taking in all of this information. I know it's a lot, but when we are building that foundation for our little ones, it's a job. It is. And so you helping your little one at home, and then the teacher at school, and any other support that they can get is such a big help to them. It will keep them growing and learning, and they will love to learn, okay? I hope that this has helped you, and if you have any questions at the end of this seminar, you can see me personally. Thank you so much for coming out. Have a good day.